As we start to look at formatting numbers, the first one we're going to look at is how to format with currency. This is a template that I've downloaded from Microsoft. Obviously, it's a wedding budget, and you have a summary section here. And as you look through this, you have apparel, reception, music. You have several different categories available. Then what they did off to the right is they took each of those categories and they made detailed accounting notes, dollars, what was estimated, what was actual, and if they're over and under. So as you look at this, very visual, nice color scheme with green and black. For those of you who don't really care about the visuals, just hang in there. We're just looking at different ways to present this information. So if you don't really care for visuals, but you may need to present some things, you'll begin to find that you can make it easier for people to get right to information or associate information that's on the spreadsheet through different types of visuals or colors, those kinds of things. So as we look at the apparel category, I'm going to zoom into this area, bottom right, hitting the plus sign. Let me get in a little bit more. So here we have the apparel category, and we want to look at how they're putting their currency on the worksheet. Right now you've got a comma separating the thousandths there, and you also have a decimal with 2 decimal points afterward. But there is no currency indicator, meaning there's no dollar or pound or whatever, euro, whatever you work with, in that cell or really anywhere on this spreadsheet, this worksheet. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at different ways to work with currency. Also, accounting comes into play. You'll see what the difference is with that as well. So 1500, that's fine, but I want to see the currency symbol. So let me show you a few different things that's going on. On the Home tab, in just about the middle of that ribbon, you'll see a section called Number. And as you look to the top here, this is a really good clue as to how that information is being treated. It's choosing it or using it as a number, which could be any type of number. It just happens to have decimal places in this particular one to really show or indicate that it is a currency. However, that's how it's treating number. When we choose currency, it brings in the symbol for the currency, so in this case a dollar sign, and everything else is the same. Okay. When you look up here again, when I drop down the number format, there's accounting, and they look pretty much the same, but watch what happens. I'll click on accounting, and the currency symbol moves over to the left and the number aligns to the right. So remember, default text left, numbers right. When you use accounting, it will put the currency symbol way left or left align, and if you use currency, it puts it right up against the numbers. Okay. Now another thing that's going on here is it's treating it as currency with 2 decimals. If you'll notice, they are not using anything after the decimal. In fact, they're rounding up on everything. So as you work through this, you may decide, let's not show any decimal places. I don't need it because we're not really tracking it at that level. So right up here again in the numbers section, you can hit the arrow once and then twice, and it gets rid of the decimal places. Also, the decimal goes away. If you increase it, I don't know what the limit is, but for most accounting, 3 to 4 is the maximum. But if you're having to track, to the nth degree, the different cents or whatever the change section is of your currency, then you have typically enough fields to work with there, or places to put that information within that cell. So now I've got this in a currency format. It shows you how to increase the decimal or decrease it. The comma style, it does put the comma in here, and I don't think it's going to do anything. Oh, it does. It takes away the currency symbol. Okay. You can also turn these into percentages. Okay. You can also just click on your currency. Now notice it jumps it to accounting, even though you think it might be currency. And then it has a listing for the different types of currencies. If it's not there, just click on More Accounting Formats, and you'll see these different symbols. So lots of different countries and money types. Typically, when you're working with Microsoft and you load up your software, it asks you what your time zone is and what currency you work with. So your default one is probably already loaded, but there are ways to change that here. Okay, accounting to decimal places, and it gives you an example. Okay, if you go to currency, it's the same thing. However, it adds in, how do you want to treat negative numbers? Do you want it with a minus in front of it, or just turn it red, or put it in brackets, which is what they chose to do on this worksheet, or put it in brackets and make it red? So depending on what you want to do with color scheme, or to really draw out that this is a negative number, or in this case it is a over the budget like this one, then you can change how that looks. So let's do that. That's 300, and I'm just going to go to Format Cells, which I did it really quick just by clicking that button in the bottom right corner. So instead of this just being in brackets, I want it in brackets and red, and I click OK. And there we go. So for that to take impact for all of your spreadsheet, you would be going through anywhere that there are numbers. You can try to choose the whole sheet, but you're probably going to have fields that have dates and different things in it, and that would mess those up. So in this case, if I wanted all of them to respond that, I could choose them and change the formats as I wanted them, or go into this and work typically with number, but currency and accounting is available, either one that I want to work with. So some really simple ways to work with the information. You've got your drop down here. It's a real quick way to get to it with some defaults. You've got the different symbols, percentages, putting it to a comma style, increasing or decreasing your indent. Actually, your decimal places is available there as well. So as we look at this spreadsheet, if I did keep that red, let me go back in just a little bit more, then it's very obvious where we're over, as opposed to just straight up black numbers. But a lot of this is preference. If you're really trying to communicate, hey, we've got to be aware that this is over, then you might put it in red along with putting it in brackets, or red with a negative sign as well. So some very simple things to do, but it can definitely change the attention that certain items get on the spreadsheet.